All right, how you doing, MrMan?
I'm doing good, thank you.
That's good. So we missed last week, so that's 2 weeks we're gonna be catching up on.
Yeah.
What exactly has been going on with the party, or just in Perennia?
Last time we left off, the group had to make a decision whether they were going to go to King Alric and help the kingdoms fight back, or whether they were going to go rescue Nathan's and try and see what's going on with the watch.
Yes.
We, so that's where we left off. When we met up, they decided they were going to go help Nathan's, which means Galdrin wins both wars. So Galdrin wins, Galdrin wins the war with the Steep Sanctuary. They do not get their war terms. Instead, they settle for reparations, or war indemnity, I guess I should say, of 100,000 gold pieces. So Sanctuary forks over 100,000 gold pieces. The Galdrin comes out of that okay, but this war was very costly for them. They
Oh
lost
yeah.
two-thirds of their fleet, all sorts of other woes
Oh,
that
hold on.
befell.
You're sharing screen. We have a new thing, everybody, where we now have visual. Oh, that's right. So continue what you're saying. I'm gonna have to take a second to pull your window up, but continue anyways.
So yeah, they did not help King Alric, which means the North Kingdoms then did not make it through their
Oh,
final
they
battle.
didn't.
Well, after they were the hinge point, right? So everything resulted around the battle that took place here at Volkov. They did not choose to help King Alric, so he was rolled and he retreats back to Hanno, which means Galdrin controls four of the six, and they have now got their war clock going. There's no possible way anyone can turn it except the characters. So Galdrin wins there. So now the north is technically Galdrin. So I get to change my map. I'm going to say, I'm going to call it something else. Might call it Dominion of Galdrin. New Galdrin. I have to think on it.
All right, everyone. The thing should be on screen now. But so the North, like so, Galdrin won, but are severely handicapped because they're so spread thin, and then everyone else is kind of licking their wounds because they weren't ready for it, essentially.
Well, the Sanctuary lost, fuck, three-quarters of its forces. They only had 2,000 fighting men anyway, but they threw everything they had at the convoys that go between Northern Kingdoms and Kingdom of Galdrin and to hold the embargo.
Well, hold on.
And they
Why
just
why would they do that? That's kind of a dumb decision to throw them all. Why? I know there's no real reason why, but I mean,
we'll throw them all in the sense of fighting, but I mean, there's attrition, right? And attrition
yeah, oh
takes
yeah,
its toll.
yeah.
And they had to keep fighting in order to force the Kingdom of Galdrin to the negotiation table. They were going for a war of attrition, after all. The attrition works against them, but not when they can take out entire ships of men with submersibles and face very little losses. But you're still taking losses. People die on the way. People die in fighting. It just happens.
Yeah.
So they bled themselves to get to a point. They got to the negotiation table. King Ash said, "We'll settle for money." They said, "That's great," because they're very depleted. So they said 100,000 gold, we'll call it good, and then nothing else changes. So status quo and 100,000 gold. They gave in, and then shortly after they're going to give in, because this happened, and then a bit of time happens, Volkov battle happens, and then 3 months passes, and if nothing happens in 3 months, then Galdrin wins the north. That's exactly what happened because it took them 3 months to get here to where they are right now, where the
Yeah.
watchtowers.
Right there at King's Landing, right?
Yeah, Kingshold. You know,
Or
from
King's Hold.
Kingshold,
Yeah, yeah, yeah. My bad. What is King's Landing? What is that from?
got
Isn't
Game
that
of Thrones.
Game of
This is
Thrones?
the same idea as it,
I've
but
never
different.
watched Game of Thrones. Why is that in my head? What the fuck? Sorry.
King's Landing is from Game of Thrones. You might have just heard it in
It
passing.
I had to have because I don't. I've watched 2 episodes of Game of Thrones and watched more of Vikings. But anyways, that's just me rambling.
No worries. So yeah, so Galdrin wins on both fronts. So now they gain the territories. I'm going to change the map to
Fucking
reflect their new
cucks.
territory gain. They also lost. They lost in Fangorn. Again, the group did not choose to go to Fangorn, and
Yeah.
because they've now chosen to help Nathan's, and I haven't got to the reason why, but there's going to be no Phase 3 now.
Oh,
They are not
Nathan's
going.
is their science boy, right? Or a science boy?
Oh no, Nathan's is the Lord Commander of
That's
the
right. That's
Watch.
right. My
He
bad.
was the head security guy. No worries.
Yeah.
So he is, and he was also taken. And when they went on their scouting missions, they discovered that he was taken over, or they figured he was dominated by a magician to do their will.
So,
So
hey,
they
that
brought
kind of reminds me of Stormhaven, and Elder Scrolls Online. The king is plagued by nightmares and is able to be manipulated that way. I mean, not
okay,
the
cool,
same
yeah.
exact way, but I mean that's
But no,
a reference for
compare.
people to compare. Yeah.
Yeah, good comparison. They opt to help Nathan's. So those are the repercussions of their choices. Like I said, every choice matters for them. They didn't do that. This actually works out pretty well for the group for their personal feelings, not their character feelings, their personal feelings, because Andromeda wanted his country to stay together. Galdrin was backing the rebels. Because the rebels didn't win, that means the established baby killing government won, and he gets to keep his old country intact. So I mean, he didn't do anything actively to make that happen, and none of them ever agreed to go help Fangorn in any way at the beginning to make it a choice or to make it a winnable battle. So, I'm happy all the consequences added up to stuff that I can keep going with.
Yeah. I mean, well, that's the point of a persistent world. There's no graphics on screen. It's broke. Oh, there we go.
Really?
Yeah,
Do
it's
you see
back
them?
now. Yeah, we're good. It's probably just took a second to load on, the Discord end.
Yeah, you should see King's Hold right now.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, excellent. King's Hold is where they went to.
All right. So yeah, that's okay. Oh shit.
All right, so I just changed again.
Yeah, I got you. Ah, I love the Northern Kingdoms map. It reminds me a lot of Elder Scrolls, or Tamriel, I should say.
Oh, yeah, it's shaped the same, I guess.
No, not
So
the
they
same, but
take
I
their
mean, like, just the North being the snow. Like, it's just me being a, nerd.
They get their gift from the sanctuary for helping them in phase 1, and this is their submersible. So when I listened to the Andromeda episode, he was talking about how he was going to get a submersible from the sanctuary.
Mhm.
So this is what he gets. So he gets that submersible. I think I showed people in the one episode. Oh, we
Do
lost
you
that one.
have a picture of the submersible?
I do, but we lost that one. But I'm going to pull it up.
We're good. Because yeah. It'll be, since you have the images of the party, I haven't inserted in anything yet. I'm going to try to do a reveal. Oof, just popped my neck.
Okay, do you see?
I see green. It's loading now. Ooh. Oh, yeah. I've seen that. That's right. We've seen that before.
This was on the lost episode.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. That's right. Fuck. It's going to give me flashbacks of anger.
So the submersible is to scale. I put some stuff inside to give people an idea of just how much room they have. All the machinery and stuff is hidden below the floorboards. It's painted gray or blue-gray to match the waves. The whole point is stealth, right?
Yeah.
So this is their way to get around now. It can go in as little as 2 feet of water.
That's Andromeda's creation
Yeah,
or thought, right?
yeah, now it's not exactly all gnomish engineering. It's actually powered by a magical source. But if they get in a pinch, they can feed wood into a wood-fired stove or a coal-fired stove, whatever they want to use, and they can power it that way too. But yeah, they have magical propulsion, so they don't have to do anything. It just goes. It just only goes at certain rates of movement. If they put a
Yeah.
sail up, so this is a sail pole that goes out, and then as it comes up, it's basically a collapsible sail. They can make much better time. So with that in mind, this is now their primary mode of transportation, and
How
they're
how
independent now.
sturdy is everything?
It's quite good. I gave it stats that are comparable to uh, small merchant vessels. I figured that was a pretty good comparison. So
That
the
is.
statistics are right around there. It's slower than an actual sailing ship, as it should, right? It's not built for sailing properly on the open seas. But what it lacks in speed, it makes up for in the fact that it can run 24/7. And it doesn't tire someone out running 24/7 either.
How do they operate it for them to be tired out?
Well, that's what I was just going to say. They have to just keep watch and make sure it doesn't hit anything and make sure land stays in sight. And then if Andromeda is the one in charge, she can use the stars to figure out where she is. But they don't have sextants or anything like that yet. Although she's going to invent the first one. Can't remember, an astrolabe. She is going to end up inventing an astrolabe, I believe. I think that was the name of the thing she was going to do. But she's going to invent some sort of navigational instrument that's going to propel my world forward a little bit into the steam power age. So with that in mind, this is now how they get around. They don't need to pay anyone now. So we spent a little bit of time for them to buy stuff because for the first time since they started playing, so like 16 sessions, they haven't been to a store of any sort where they could just buy shit. Like they haven't. It's been that long since they did it. So I've cut them loose to go buy some shit if they wanted shit. They got gold from the sanctuary and they also got the submersible. Because Andromeda wanted the submersible to be hers and only hers, I gave the rest of the characters magical items, or not magical items, masterwork items that could be easily enchanted to get them by. Uh, and this is pretty critical. Shaw decided to get a silvered warhammer that does bludgeoning on one side and piercing on the other side. So picture a hammer that has a point on one side and a bludgeon end on the other. That's what he got, but it's been silvered to help fight undead.
That's cool. So
And then
I'm just picturing that. Holy shit.
they also have their full legendary items now because they got back from their scouting mission.
That's right.
Yeah, we've talked about those, so I won't go into them again. They're getting powered up, right? They did get magic items, but they didn't. None of them picked weapons. They all picked practical things.
Mm-hmm.
So Zver got a magic bag of holding, so that he can carry more stuff, like all of his spell books, and it doesn't have to be out in a to weigh him down, right?
Yeah. Makes it easy.
Andromeda got a backpack that just had a couple small little. It was basically a quiver backpack. Pretty low key because again he got the sub, so I kept his a little lighter. Everybody else got comparable things. I don't remember what Quick got, to be totally honest, because he had his choker sleeves, but that's his legendary. And yeah, I'm sorry, I can't remember if he got anything or not.
Oh, you're good.
But beyond that, they just got a few things from the sanctuary, and then they went and bought mundane stuff and supplies, blew a little bit of money, poked around town a bit, got a few more rumors. The main thing they heard is that the sanctuary is close to the bargaining table with Galdrin, and then they set out. And then when they arrive, they find out from overheard conversations from sneaking about that we'll get into, that then they find out that the sanctuary has gone to the bargaining table, and that's where they find out the sanctuary lost their war.
Yeah, it's so like once someone goes to a bargaining table, you can kind of already assume that shit went bad for him.
Yeah, but it was good for the sanctuary because the war's over. And now they can rebuild. And they didn't lose anything except money, which they don't give a fuck about anyway. It was literally like, Mr. Burns in The Simpsons, where they fine him, but like the FDA finds him, and they bring him to court, and they're like, blah, blah, and he just pulls his wallet out, and he starts counting them out, and he's like, okay, there you go. That's kind of like what it was for the sanctuary. They got so much money, they're like, yeah, whatever, bud. There's your $100,000, and we'll be seeing each other again.
Yeah. It's like, this ain't over yet.
It ain't over. King Ash is not going to let this go. He has a
No.
plan, and I was talking to the player, like, Quick, of King Ash. And I was like, you're going to love meeting your old character for probably the time. Like, it's going to be fun for you. It's going to be a good old-fashioned adventure, and I think you'll like it. He was pretty jacked. So,
I can't
I'm
fucking
not
wait.
going to say anything about it, because I want it to be a good surprise for everyone. So from this point, they went across to Nathan's. What took them 240 days last time, with 24-hour shifts, Andromeda's sailing skill, they got there in 68 days.
Oh, wow.
Man, he did so well on his rolls, and again, they're moving faster. Keep in mind that they were on a trading ship that was stopping at every port along the way to give supplies to the Galdran soldiers, grab mail, go all the way to King's Hold, get more supplies, and give them to the soldiers on the way back. They were doing a fuckload more things on there. Now they're just making a beeline. But it was pretty funny to see what took them so long last time take like only a few months this time.
Yeah. Hopefully
it doesn't
take too long for them.
As I think I mentioned before, again, we did that other episode, and I don't remember how much I said, but at this point in time, Andromeda has his cohort, and that is his brother Darius, his twin brother Darius. So Andromeda's twin brother Darius, essentially, who I should make an avatar for now.
Yeah, you should. Now that it's out there that there is a twin.
So yeah, the twin is in there, and that's who's going to watch the boat while they're gone, which is my absolute favorite use for a cohort. They take experience from the whole party, which is kind of gay, not going to lie, because it's what it's all for. But in this context, also, XP isn't that big of a deal right now. Like, I actually did give it out for the last 3 in a row, and nobody harassed me over it. So I was like, I take it as a mark of pride that nobody cared enough about experience to ask for them. Like we're having so much fun that it was just fun doing it. But they're gonna get a shitload of experience after this because it's all gonna matter.
Yeah.
Like they're all gonna add up. Is what I mean. Actually, they go all the way there in 68 days. When they get there, they tell Darius that they're gonna take 1 week, and he's gonna come back in 1 week, and they're gonna shine him with a mirror from the shore to come in. Otherwise, if they don't see them, wait another 3 days, I believe, and then come looking for him. So he fucks off in the submersible while they go upriver. So now I'll go to here. So they go in through the port. So this is King's Hold, what we were just looking at.
Mm-hmm.
They go upstream about this far and camp on this side of the river. Sorry, on this side of the river. No, it was this side of the river. They camp on this side of the river. They're about half a day's march from King's Hold. Oh, I'm like, what are we doing?
There we go.
Because
King's Hold.
it's their show. Like, it's their show. How do you want to go about doing this? So they said, first they want to do recon.
Smart move. Smart move.
Yeah, it's what they're there to do. So they spend the first day kind of getting a path nailed down to get down there quickly and efficiently. And they managed to do it. I did already talk about this in the last episode because I was talking about the gap here.
That's right.
Yeah, that's what it's gonna be. Okay, so I'm just gonna do. You're probably gonna. It's probably all gonna come back to you as I say it.
Probably.
They come down here, and that night they also want to break in and see what they can see. The two characters that are gonna do this are Quick and Shaw. They're the stealthiest ones there. They creep down, figure out a way. It takes them about 6 hours to find a good path that'll get them there in about 2.5 hours next time. They go, they break trail, they cut their own trails, blah blah. Get to about here. They're like, well, how are you gonna do this? It's about 2 o'clock in the morning is what they shoot for.
Good. It's
And
late, so it's either shift change or no one's around.
so this is the first time they've really laid eyes on it, and they take a second to take it in. First thing they notice is there's guards all along this facing of the wall, almost shoulder to shoulder. This is a higher point, and then
They're coming
down.
from the south, aren't they?
Well, this would be the direction that zombies would come from if everything broke through,
Yeah.
which is the
Okay, that makes
They also
sense.
notice that there's a bunch of guards down here and a bunch of guards over here. So the bridge has been covered by guards on both sides. The ones on this side have the crossbows that are familiar for Galdrim, and on the other side is a mixed bag of crossbowmen and just footmen. The idea being these guys up here also have crossbowmen, just weight of fire to keep this bridge. It's a good choke point, especially for mindless undead. We'll just go forward to a choke point like it's 300 or something. They see all this, then they go, okay, we're going to bust in. They got 3 choices of places to go: Battle Hall, High Protector's Manor, Logistics Office. All pretty self-explanatory what they are. From this point here, they have to swim. What I thought at the time was 20 feet, ended up being 30 feet. Kind of irrelevant, but anyway. 20 feet they have to go across. I roll for weather. It's about, what would it be in Fahrenheit? About 23 degrees Fahrenheit, so below freezing.
Oh shit.
Yeah, Celsius, it's like minus
So
10.
are they going to be like frosted over by the time they get to where they need to go?
This is where weather and being in the north comes in. So she'll surrender to help out Quick so he doesn't have to make constitution checks. Now, also remember, because Shaw keeps doing so shitty in endurance checks.
That's right. Shaw has shit rolls for endo.
Yeah. So he got the endurance feat. So here's another chance.
I remember you said something like that because he
swims across this freezing fucking river, gets out the other side with Quick on his back like David Hasselhoff in SpongeBob movie. Fucking motors across there with 2 really good swim checks, gets to the other side. Now I'm like, well, you're gonna have to do constitution checks every hour you're out here in the cold because you're freezing to the bone. So he's like, yeah, no, that makes sense. So he was really good about it. They both sneak up their sections of wall, and they both sneak in. There's a bunch of checks involved in this, and me relating a bunch of information. What I'll skip to is the pertinent information. Shaw decides to go to the battle hall. When he's in the battle hall, he realizes, first and foremost, that nothing's happening in the actual area for coordinating how the towers work, in the form of he's seeing tons of requisition forms that have literal amounts of dust on them because they haven't even been looked at, which means the watchtowers themselves haven't been supplied in some time.
Oh my god.
He's guessing about 2 or 3 months, judging by what's going on. Now, if you'll remember, about 2 or 3 months ago, The last group was here learning that Withers was there.
Yeah, that's
Right
right. That's right. Withers was spotted
there.
finally, emaciated as fuck.
Yeah. And he was spotted,
Oh, let me
and he
clear
was
out the map.
actually at King's Hold, and they had missed him when they went to King's Hold on their scouting mission.
Because they're
So they
queefs.
knew that Nathan's was here, and they knew that Withers had been here. And they tie the dates to everything stopping about the time that Withers was there. In fact, he finds a letter that has, and they don't find this out at the time when they do it, but I'll just do it now because it all goes together. They find a letter addressed from Withers that basically says he's been taking all the supplies that were meant for the watchtowers and giving them to the Galdron war effort. So now he's stealing from everyone in the world, including his allies and Sort. This is the smoking gun that they can kill the alliance between Sort and Galdron with. So they find this letter, this damning evidence. They also find other letters that Shaw, he can't read. He can't read Galdronese, and he can't read in general because Northlanders don't learn to read. They can just read basic shit to get around. But when it comes to like script and knowing context, he has no idea. So he just looks for the fanciest scribbles and the biggest signs and kind of stuffs them all into a bag, stealths out of there. He learns too that in the battle hall, all of these administrators that have been following Nathan's around, like clucking hens, keeping him going. Think of Joe Biden. That's the best way. I think I said that last time too. You know how
Yeah.
Joe Biden has his handlers and he's just like out
Bumbling
of
and
it all?
fumbling.
Yeah, except when they tell him what to do. That's fucking Nathan's. That's what I'm modeling it on. This guy who's got his mind rattled by something, spell, something. They don't know what it is. They are assuming it's a dominate person spell. He's got his mind rattled. He can't do anything without someone doing it. Well, they're the people in the battle hall. All that Shawin Shaw walks out of there with is all these letters, but it's very good. The whole point of that was to find the letter that damned Withers for basically ripping off the world and using all the supplies. So now his pirates have even more targets, and they won't hurt their war effort anymore. So he's enriching himself insanely off of this one battle order. So gets all that, gets out of there, no issues at all. They made amazing spell. Remember, he's got those boots now, those legendary boots that give him really good hide and move silent. So he's an all star on that now. Now to Quick chooses the High Protector's Manor. He sneaks his way in there. He picks one of the windows that's up high. He manages to jimmy it open and
I
get
will
in.
say, Quick is always really good at choosing perfect targets.
The High Protector's Manor was Nathan's, and he wanted to be the one to find Nathan's and check him out.
Because he wants
He
to
gets
suck
in
his
there.
penis. I'm
He
sorry,
would love
Quick.
that. As love that. So he sneaks in there, determines that all that's in there are 2 attendants and 1 cook. The 2 attendants and the 1 cook all sleep on the upper floor, and Nathan's himself sleeps in a room that's tucked away back against the back of the building with no windows into the room and an airtight door around it. They know from living there that all the Lord Commanders of each castle or watchtower, like main watchtower, have their own building with an airtight seal to keep out gaseous form vampires from killing the Lord Commander and controlling him. So he sleeps in a very hard to get into chamber. Um, of course, Quick can get in because they don't. There's no attack right now. They're not sleeping with it open. It's a precaution that people just ignore because they haven't had to do it in so long. These are
Yeah.
the guys that are most separated from the front lines, so they just fall out of this.
Yeah, they're the reason why shit gets so fucked up in these
And it's
spy
also
movies, too, because they're the reason why shit gets bad.
And it's also a mark of how out of it Nathan's is that even though he knows a threat's coming, he hasn't given himself all the protection that he can. The
Really?
door's open, right? He's got his mind all
Yeah,
fogged
okay,
up.
that makes sense.
He has no
Okay.
mind for him to do that. So he goes or quick sneaks up to the door, cracks it open, opens silently, gets inside of there, and then he realizes he can't see in the dark because there's no windows, there's no source of light. So he just stands there. He's like, I'm just going to observe and listen and see if there's something I can figure out. So that's what he does. Stands there and listens. And I tell him that he can hear a distinctly Galdron voice speaking with Nathan's voice, and Nathan's his own voice arguing
Mm-hmm.
in his sleep. You can't take out the context because you can't speak Galdrine, and you also no, yeah, he can't speak Galdrine, and he can only make out Nathan's side. But what he does make out is that Nathan's is at war with something that's in his mind. This just reinforces the idea to them that it's dominate person. They think they've got this all figured out. So he goes there, figures out, okay, Nathan's is dominated. We're going to come back the next day. Because they've got 7 days to kill, right? No sense in trying to do everything in one day.
Yeah.
Especially try to break out Nathan's from a pretty impregnable place. Now, as I stated before, a majority of the guards are on these faces here, with patrols, of course, going around to check everything else all the time. There were percentage chances they get seen by patrols rolled, but they did well. Everybody rolled quite well, especially Quick, who got a decent amount of rolls that night. From there,
Sound like he did.
he did. They sneak out without being seen. Mission accomplished. They have to swim back across the cold ass water.
Why?
Again, shot at the make.
Oh yeah, that's right.
Sorry.
Never mind. I was trying to figure out why they have to swim across the water, but I forgot they had to literally cross a creek.
Yeah. They swim across there. Again, Shaw has to make cold checks all the way back so he doesn't freeze to death. He does pretty well. I think he only takes damage once. He's got a lot of hit points now, so it's more of an inconvenience, but one that they always take seriously because they're in the north and they could get jumped at any time. So they go back. Next day comes along. They make another plan. Andromeda's plan is to watch them during the day, while the other two are going to go back during the nights. And they're just going to poke around and see what they can see each time. Oh, shit. Sorry. I forgot. One major thing from the High Protector's Manor that Quick found. He went into the to his office, and underneath he found a secret door inside of the desk that he does most of his writing on. Also on the desk, he found all these orders are being signed by Nathan's to send all these supplies, and they're making it look legit. And he also determines that the sole purpose of Nathan's being here is to sign papers, and they've basically been able to do everything else themselves. He's just a glorified rubber stamper, essentially, is the point. And I want them to learn this so they kind of have a better feeling of what's going on.
Yeah, understandable.
And inside of that desk, he finds a secret compartment. Inside that compartment, he finds a note, and the note is a map that tells him, and a note that says, like, it's the Lord Protector that he has to pass on to each guy that comes along. And it reveals that there is a secret tunnel underneath the desk. It reveals where the switch is inside of that secret panel. And in case of an emergency, what's supposed to happen is first the bridge falls, then they move back to the castle.
The two goth bitches
Then
suck
they
his
move
dick.
back to the High Protector's Manor. Then they take a secret tunnel that goes all the way down here and comes out underneath the main docks. From there, they're supposed to have a last-ditch effort boat waiting for them, and then they take the boat and they fuck off and they abandon. Right?
It sounds like a flawless plan that's like a little bit too convenient, which means their planning is really good.
It's something that was set up. Remember, they've always known that Tixis could break through.
That's true. Yeah, yeah.
And human life's precious. If for no other reason than every dead man is another zombie to go to their side.
Okay.
They had protection all in order. There's tons of these castles. This was a world effort against Tixis. So everybody's input. So it's like the most intelligent minds in the world trying to come up with every scenario they can to improve their chances of winning. And this is just one example of them. Having an escape tunnel, having gas-proof rooms, things like that. They try to think a few things ahead. From that point, they find the secret room. I was just pointing at the screen, but you can't see my finger. They find the secret path.
You really pointed at your fucking screen?
I really did.
So
they find out about it and they go back. The next day, they plan to try and find the opposite side of the secret tunnel and go backwards through it and come up from the other side if they can. Right? So now they found their own way into the castle is what they're hoping. And they can also use it to sneak Nathan's out. And then they don't have to fight anyone.
Smuggle that bitch and they'll be good.
Yeah, so now we're into day 2. Sorry, I missed that. So from there, like I said, Andromeda wanted to watch it during the day, and then the other two were going to come in at night and do that secret path. Zverg was going to help during the day as well. During that day also, Quick went hunting and did so well on his hunting checks that he found enough food to get them through the rest of the week.
That's nice. What'd they find? What'd he find?
I think he found 2 small game and 1 large game. So he basically found a big elk.
Yeah.
And only the 4 of them, and 2 of them are half or small, so they only eat half portions. So only feeding 3 full-sized people. So I mean, they've been eating nothing but rations on that boat because they were going 24/7. They didn't want to go ashore. They just bought tons of iron rations. And every once in a while, Andromeda would do create food to kind of switch it up.
Hmm.
But the food that you create isn't as nutritious as the real deal. This is the first real food that they've gotten in a while. So Bear goes and finds herbs and berries and stuff to spice it up, while uh, Quick finds the venison and whatnot. Andromeda goes to find her spot. She finds a really nice spot right up here, tucked away in these trees. The whole hillside goes up quite drastically. I'm still working on contours, but assume that the height difference between this point by the river and this point up here is almost 100 feet. It's a pretty steep slope that goes up, and it puts you a little bit higher than the castle walls so that you can actually see into the courtyard a little bit. It's just a natural lay of the land, and they were more going for protection from people walking. They didn't think anyone was going to come there with siege engines, say, and shoot straight across into their compound. So from there, she posts up and starts watching. She sees Nathan's on the first day. She sees him walking around like Joe Biden with his handlers. That was the point I was trying to get across with him too. He again thinks it's some sort of dominate person. He looks down at the people down by the gate, just watches it all. He watches a patrol go out in the morning and come back with all the men in the evening. Then he fucks off back to camp. I make him roll a willpower save. I make them all roll willpower saves, but his is the only one I'm worried about. He doesn't catch on, they all roll him, and he doesn't make a save. Next day comes along. Or sorry, that night comes along. That night, the Quick and Shaw go to this end of the docks. This time before they go, now that they know that they're getting into, I roll for weather. Again, it's very cold. It's going to be below freezing. They have spells called Endure Elements that last for 24 hours. So they get those spells cast on themselves. And then they also get the swim spell cast on them. So now Shaw can swim, and they can get across without having to roll cold checks. So they always learn from what happened. So now they can get across pretty much unimpeded. So again, they cross where they wanted to, run down the beach, go towards the main docks. First thing to notice when they get there is that there's a few less men on the walls. It's been about 3 days with nothing happening since they've been here, so it's natural that guys get called back. So while they're not sure exactly what caused the alert in the first place, it seems that they're going to start tapering off their alert status. There they go underneath the main docks, and they hop into the tunnel. They find it. They find that it's not locked from the other side. It's just been covered over with some cleverly concealed rocks. They pull the rocks out, make their way down the tunnel all the way to the end. They see what is gnomish engineering at the end, and they realize that the whole bottom underneath the desk goes down and makes itself into a stairs, and then they can walk up. They also realize that they can't open it from the bottom. It's also an airtight gap. From there, yep, so they basically got stymied for that night. But they do know that if they bring Sverg there, Sverg can look at the gnomish machinery, maybe make it so that they can work it backwards with some sort of like a hand crank, so he can crank it all backwards from below.
Would that work?
Well, they don't know. They're going to bring Sverg and find out.
Oh, yeah. I don't know why I asked that. Yeah.
It's coming there. Day 4 comes along. Roll the weather app. They're snowed in by a blizzard. So they don't do anything on the 4th day. They sit in their tents, they wait it out, and day 5 comes along, which was pretty cool. I like it when weather is that, like, interferes that much with them that they have to shut down for the day.
Yeah. I mean, it's good, but it's also bad.
Time is of the essence, but they've found what they want to know. They know where Nathan's is, they know how to get in there. They've got an escape route. They just don't know if it's noisy. That's the next thing they want to know. The other reason they want to go to Sverg is to make sure whether or not it's going to be a noisy descent. They're hoping he can like grease the gears or something like that. So during the day, Sverg does precisely that. He tries to go find some like geese and ducks and stuff like that so that he can get animal fat off of them, and then he'll have fat to grease the gears. So him and Quick go to, and Andromeda watches. So sorry, that day there's no in. I'm on to the next day.
So next day.
The day 4.
Okay.
Sorry, day 5. Day 4.
Day 5. I was going to say day. Okay, so day 5.
Day 5, Andromeda. Also, though, I also made them all roll willpower saves again. Andromeda doesn't catch on. Now we're here again. So he goes and he posts up in his spot and looks down on them. He notices the one thing that I've
Does
wanted
he
him
have
to
a sniper scope? Is he going to 360 quick scope somebody? What's the deal here?
He has the clairvoyance spell. The clairvoyance spell is a spell that gives you built-in binoculars. It's like eagle eyes. So he can just sit there and fucking... Now, he does have a spyglass as well, but he doesn't need it. The clairaudience is better.
Yeah, okay.
because you can take in the whole field of view as opposed to one small little circle that you look down. So it's far superior. He notices one thing immediately on that 5th day. The guys on the walls are sparse now. He also notices that down here, they've pulled back a bunch of soldiers. And he now realizes that all the soldiers down here are the soldiers that were supposed to be in the castle. And all the soldiers in the castle are only Galdrin soldiers.
You
They're
know
making,
what? Really?
yeah, they're making all the people down below sleep inside these 4 towers.
Oh,
And
that
Galdrin has
fucking
taken over
sucks.
that castle and makes all the people that normally would, defend from that castle defend down on the bridge. And they were only bolstering the people down on the bridge with their own crossbowmen. He learns that, and that's about all. There's not a hell of a lot for him to learn from the wall, except for seeing patrols when they leave and when they get back, and realizing whether those patrols are depleted. And he notices that patrols are fine when they're getting back. That's his main takeaway. I make them all roll willpower saves again. Finally, he catches on. He
Nice.
understands that his character is being scryed upon. Do you know what scrying is?
You're seeing in the future, or you're seeing through something. Scrying
I
orb.
know.
I know that's a thing. Scrying orb from
Yeah,
something.
so like a wizard's crystal ball, and he can
Yeah.
see
Okay. Yeah, that's exactly what I thought it was. Okay.
that's happening to him. Now,
No.
this is a spell that I've played D&D for a very long time and have never ever used it. This is the first time I've ever used it. So I did my research before I used it. I determined that he knows he's being scryed upon in certain circumstances, but the saving
Why only
throw
certain?
depends on whether you make saves or not,
Oh,
and
okay. So it's entirely
like what.
dependent on the RNG gods.
Yeah, pretty much. And the other thing is, Withers has all sorts of personal effects of his, and he knows her. So he knows Andromeda, and he has personal effects, which gives him a -15 on the saving throw against it. It's like voodoo, right? Where if you have more of the real stuff for the person, the easier the connection is with them.
Mm-hmm.
So because he has so many effects, because Withers is madly in love with
He's.
Andromeda,
Oh
he
yeah.
has
Well, I mean, you
stuff.
call raping her madly in love.
Yeah, if you're crazy, it makes sense.
You're fucking Marquise de Sade, the fucking degenerate of fucking France. All right. Anyways, that's like a very obscure
For her
reference.
balls. Yeah, he busted her balls, and she paid. She paid for it. So
Yeah, that's
he,
true. I mean, I don't agree with that, but I mean,
I
that's
know you
exactly
do, but
the course
we
of
aren't with her.
events.
Yeah,
That's
we aren't
true.
with her.
That's true.
So
We're not cowards.
no, absolutely not. So he realizes he's being scryed upon, but I'm like, this is where you have to play your character. Your character only knows something's up. For the last 3 days in a row, at precisely 1 o'clock in the afternoon, you have felt some sort of itching between your shoulder blades. You're not sure what it is. It's like someone's watching you, but you don't see nothing. So of course, like Andromeda's like player has played this game forever too, so he knows it's scrying immediately. Like he's not dumb. He knows
Yeah, but you
exactly what.
can't like
But
play. You
I'm
can't.
like challenging him basically to be like, how are you gonna handle this in a way that doesn't show that you're a player and that you're gonna handle this? He's like, he had to think on it. Of course, I caught him totally off guard. He had no idea what to do at first. For about 15 seconds, I'll grant myself to be generous. But yeah, I figured for a good 15 seconds, he didn't know what to do. He was like, motherfucker, because it's never happened to him, right? Not a lot of people do it. So it was good to catch them off guard for once. And I got him twice this day, because now we get to the next part. They were going in there with Zverg. Not only that, if they couldn't get through with Zverg that way, they were going to sneak in all together the next day and see if they could free him. So they're going there. Oh, sorry, no, that's not what happened. My bad. They're going to sneak in there with Zverg, and they were going to do that if there was time. Unfortunately, Zverg rolled poorly for how long it would take him to figure out the gear system, and it took them
Ah,
all night for him to figure out how to do it. But he figured out how to do it.
so they're on like
So he
what, day 6 now?
uh, day 6 is the next day. This is day 5
Oh,
at night.
still day 5. My bad. Okay.
All good. So day 5 passes where they go there that night. They go there. He studies the machinery, and Quick does something that he's been wanting to do for a very long time.
And which is.
So he asks me, how many patrols are there out? And I told him, well, it's pretty sparse now because there's no actual alert going on anymore. He's like, I want to kill a guy. I'm like, all right.
What guy?
But you know what you're getting into, right? He's like, yeah, I want to kill a guy, but make it look like an accident.
Oh no!
You know what you're asking for, right? Yeah. All right. You gonna tell anyone? No. All right.
That's
he
fucking great, dude.
Spider climbs up the side, and a patrol of 4 walks by because they don't fuck around. They don't do 2-man patrols. Like it's the real deal. They're walking around in 4-mans, and I roll a percentile to see if anyone in that one has to take a piss. Because I'll just see. I'm like, we'll see if this happens. If not, I don't know how long you want to wait here until someone kind of separates from the pack. So he got lucky right away because again, he was rolling really well that night. And one guy wants to separate off and go take a piss. So he walks him over. He climbs up.
All
So
right.
I just said to him that every one of these towers has a little spot that you can sit and poop out over the edge, just like they did in the old days. A
So
poop
he's
deck almost.
literally rolling to take a shit.
Yep. So he goes and squats
I
here.
fucking
As
love
he turns,
that.
yeah, as he turns, uh, basically quick takes him and throws him off the edge because he's got that new power, and he's also taking that new class where he's hand-to-hand fighter now.
Yeah, he's
He
an
has a pretty cool edge.
OP. He's an OP wimp.
Yeah, pretty much. He's got a 9 strength, but you better watch out. So he tosses the guy off the edge. The guy screams all the way down, and he goes and hides.
Oh
Well, he
shit!
takes.
Hearing a scream that could give him away.
Oh yeah, he kicked the hornet's nest. Whole
Oh,
fucking castle wakes up.
nice
Everybody
job,
wakes
dude.
up. So he does this. Oh, sorry, he did this while Shaw and Zverg were underneath the tunnel where they couldn't see him do it.
No,
Nobody
so they're
could have.
like unaware of what the fuck is going on or why.
Sorry, I misspoke. Shaw was waiting at the entrance. That's right, because he wanted to be able to help both of them. So poor Shaw, he's standing there, sends the gnome off on his own. Call me if you need me. Sends the fucking halfling off on his own. Call me if you need me. Here's this dude hurtling to his death. He's like, fucking quick. Then he's like, he can't do anything because the hornet's nest's been kicked. So he hides the entrance and he goes and hangs out with Sverg. Tells him that Quick went and kicked the hornet's nest, and that was that. Now, at the time, they never knew it because I wasn't going to point it out. But kicking the hornet's nest was actually a good thing and is the main reason that so many of them are alive for what comes. It's fucking hilarious. That's how it worked out. So he alerts everyone. The alert stays going all the way through the morning, basically as long as it takes Varric to figure it all out, plus an extra hour, which still gives
Sorry.
him plenty of time. They pull everyone back. Once they realize it's just some dumbass that fell off the edge and cracked his neck, they just let it go. Everybody kind of goes back to where they are, grumbles a little bit about a false alarm, and that's that. They sneak out of there, go over here. Now there are more men on the walls again, and the patrols have been doubled, but it's still nothing that they can't get around. I mean, they're excellent at stealth, and this is what they do. There's something different too because that's Zverg with them. Zverg can make a special bridge out of shadow, so they don't even have to swim. He walks up to the edge, casts a shadow bridge, they truck across the shadow bridge, and he fucking dismisses it, and nobody gets wet. Like, how baller is that?
That's fucking pretty baller, dude. That's lucky too.
So, yeah. Well, he has that spell, right? He's a wizard. He has
You
tons
can
of
keep
books.
passing off as a spell, but we both know it's luck. Don't tell him that though.
They make their way back with all this new knowledge. Everybody's not overly impressed with Quick, and I don't blame them. I mean, it was a risk, but it was a risk that's going to pay off.
Yeah.
So that night, after that happened, we adjourned for that night. So now we're up to this past Tuesday. We all convened with the plan being now that they've got everything figured out, they're going to go back, they're going to use the hand crank, they're going to sneak in, they're going to break the spell on Nathan's, and they're going to get the fuck out.
All right. So
That's
before we start session 2, I'm gonna go grab me a Pepsi. All right.
no problem. I'm going to have a drink too. Just
Yeah.
pause it and then we'll come back.
All right. So now.
All right.
All right.
And we're
So night 6, session 2. All right.
Yep, that's right.
All right.
So yes, the plan this night is to go through the escape tunnel, use the crank that Zverg made during the day, crank her down, go up there, rescue Nathan's, and bring them back down.
Yeah.
This is the plan.
And explain a quick recap why Nathan's is important to rescue, and I know why, but I mean for people listening.
Yeah, I know it makes sense. Nathan's is relevant because he's the one who's supposed to control the entire watch. He is one of the most important people in the world. He's all that stands between the undead hordes and the civilized peoples. He is now possessed by something from Galdrin, whether it's magic or not. well, they assume it's magic, and they want to break that spell and free him from that spell so he can help them kick Galdrin off this island and get the watch back in order.
Mm-hmm.
Shaw is passionate about this. The watch is his life, as his character, of course. But as a player, too, he's very passionate about the watch. Like, it's pretty great. Quick is also of the watch, but Quick isn't lawful
Yeah.
like Shaw is. So Shaw's definitely more about he wants to free the watch. They're not supposed to be part of war games. Now that he knows that they're stealing all the food and all the water that's supposed to go to their brethren up north, he's incensed. He wants to do something about it. He wants Nathan's to help them. That's why they want Nathan's back.
That makes sense.
They can get the watch back in order and save the world, which is what this all ends up being about. From there, they crank it down. It's totally silent because they grease the gears, and things are looking good. All 4 of them creep up. They have a bunch of spells on, global invisibility, seeing and hearing buffs, all sorts of shit. They go in there like torqued up just in case. Get into Nathan's room. All 4 of them are standing in the dark. They can all see in the dark right now too. They got all those buffs. So they're standing there and they're deciding what to do.
They're like a witcher that drank a lot of potions before fighting a monster.
Yeah, pretty much. They notice something's up immediately. Was the dead giveaway? They did a spellcraft check, and then they examined him, and they determined that this was not just any spell. And then they rolled, Zverg rolled really high on his spellcraft check, and he actually determined it's not a spell; it's a straight up possession. A Galdrin person took their spirit and transferred it into Nathan's to keep him in line. So Nathan's is fighting with a possessing spirit over control of his own body. They can't just break this spell. The only way to get him out is with an exorcism. So this is like The Exorcist, where that chick is possessed by that demon spirit.
Yeah,
well,
Zuzu or whatever.
Yeah, and that's what Nathan's has. He has a possessing spirit inside of him. So now their plan is totally hooped. Nathan's hasn't woken up.
I was about to say, this shit was going way too fucking smooth for him. I was going to get mad.
Yeah, but it did. It just just put a crimp in their plans. They're like, well, all they came there to do was they ended up memorizing, I think, between all of them about 4 dispel magics to make sure that they could do it. They were just going to blast him while he was asleep, and then hopefully he would wake up as himself.
That is kind of a cheap and easy way to do some things.
It's the smart way to do it, right? Why piss off whatever the spell is, or like it's a spell to them. It's not even a sentient thing, so it makes no difference whether he's awake or not.
Yeah, that's true.
So now they realize that, okay, like Galdrin isn't fucking around. They've got some high level magic at their disposal right now, which doesn't really,
especially since they won everything, they have even more magic at their demand, not command, but demand.
Well, they have all this territory to turn people into vessels for making magic items.
Like Caesar's Legion from Fallout New Vegas.
They're ready to rock. Now their plans are crimped. So they opt to just leave without causing any difficulty, and they do so.
They're leaving without Withers? I mean, Nathan's?
Yeah, they can't do anything about it. They just decide to leave them there. They don't know what's going to happen if the possessing spirit sees them.
Hey, okay, I see
But
I was like, why are they fucking leaving over a spirit? But I think of it now that if the spirit can do that, it's obviously, and it's D&D also, so.
Well, you need at least a 9th level or 10th level cleric to cast the exorcism spell, which is the only way to kick that spirit out.
No.
However,
fuck.
Zverg and Andromeda are some smart cookies, and they have access to a lot of spells between the 2 of them, and they determine that they can cast a certain spell that, of course, none of them had memorized at that time, but they can memorize a spell called Protection from Evil. They can cast Protection on Evil for him for 5 minutes, and in those 5 minutes, the possessing spirit cannot interfere. So they can have an actual conversation with the real Nathans and see what the fuck is up. See if he can help them figure
I'm having deja vu. I could have sworn someone was talking about this before, or you brought it up as something that could have been done for. I don't know why this sounds so fucking familiar talking to you.
Well, we haven't determined that since we last talked, so I'm not sure.
It's been way, well, I'm not. Maybe it's not like relating to Perennia, and we were just talking about some D&D shit. But
makes sense.
it sounds so familiar, though. The protection from whatever for 5 minutes. I don't know. That has to be from a game or a TV show, then. But this
Oh,
exact scenario seems so fucking familiar to me. I'm not saying you stole anything. I'm just saying it's like it's such a random, piece of deja vu. It's gonna kill me because I will never remember what it is because it's from forever ago. Anyways, continue. Sorry, I just got hit with that deja vu.
so day 7 comes up. They now know what they're gonna do. So their new plan is to go there, subdue him, cast the spell, get in a good chat with him, make a plan.
Or they use a
No matter if
protection
they're leaving
spell,
them.
then do all
Yeah,
that. Okay.
yeah, exactly. Yeah, well, no, they don't know if he's gonna make the saving throw or not, right? Because
Oh
he can
yeah. Okay.
resist the spell and then he's awake. So they want to subdue him so that he's in a position not to fight back, gag him, and then cast the spell. And if it works, they'll take the gag out, and they're assuming that he's going to willingly leave with them, and they don't know where it's going to go from there, but they want to go back. I told them, I'm like, your only option is to negotiate with the possessor.
Yeah,
That's
that seems to be it. And then they're gonna have to do some
yeah.
evil shit for it, because it's
Now,
Brynnia.
they know that Nathan's is fighting it on a lot of fronts, but when it comes to protecting the castle and everybody there, Nathan's and the Galdron spirit or the Galdron possessor on the same page, so they get along. And when they get along, Nathan's is more of his old self. But
Because
when
they
they're
both want to
conflict,
keep zombies out, right?
yeah, exactly. When they have
Galdron just wants
coinciding interests,
control.
they're on the same side. They just need to figure out how they can get this guy on their side. Again, it's a long shot plan. They don't really know what to do. They just know they want to get Nathan's away, and they want to like
Well, I got a question
see
then.
what tells them to do. Go ahead.
Okay, so they need to talk to this possessor to, see if they can get Nathan. You know what I mean? Like they need to talk to the possessor, but at the same time, whether Nathan's and the possessor are on the same page as keeping zombies out of Kingshold.
They are, but
But like,
reasons,
why is why?
different reasons.
Yeah, okay, different. I was gonna say like, then why not try to work with the possessed Nathans if they're trying to, like I was gonna say maybe they can like work together and kind of help. I don't know. They're trying to get Nathans, or they're not trying to get Galdron out of Kingshold. They just need Nathans.
They just want Nathan's to get him to help them rebuild the watch.
And
They're hoping that if they get Nathan's on their side, they can get the guys loyal to Nathan's on their side and fight Galdron from the inside out, kick him out of the castle, and start rebuilding the watch and protecting and doing what they're supposed to do again.
what is Nathan's day-to-day duties? Can he
Um,
automate it? Have other people do it for him?
Nathan's a very powerful warrior. He
Okay.
has good gear, and he's somebody. So they
God, I was
want
going to
him.
ask if they don't need him to protect the thing, he could go with the party for a bit since the possessor wants to keep it safe. Also, if that's guaranteed, they still have control for the time. I don't know why. I was just trying to think of like an alternate solution. Sorry, that was like an interesting path things could have gone down, and I just wanted to know for future reference.
Well, I don't think he would cooperate with Nathan's in anything outside of self-preservation. He doesn't want to protect from the zombies to protect the people of the world. He wants to do it to protect himself, because if Nathan's dies, he dies.
Okay,
He's
now I'm
symbiote,
understanding better. So fuck
parasite,
him
I
then.
guess.
I thought there was
Exactly.
some utility to him that party could use for the time being on like an uneasy uneasy allies. But now that I know, like Nathan's and Possessor have same goals, but one's for Galdron's control, the other one's just to keep the world safe.
Yes, exactly. Nathan's is an honorable, lawful good man.
Well, there was no doubt about that, but I was hoping that maybe the Possessor has some redemption in them to use, because it strokes their ego when people are like, "Oh, you're doing something good. Thank you so much." It gets them to do more good things because they think like, "Oh, they're going to love me even more now." Like I was trying to go that route, but now I'm understanding more about the Possessor.
Well, the possessor is more of one of Galdron, or no. No, I've been doing the Biden comparison. Well, one of his handlers is also in control of the body. So he's got a handler in control of the body, and then 5 external handlers to keep him under control.
It's like the
And they all
Black
work.
Hand, but for possessions.
Yes, So they all work together to keep all the soldiers in line. They're the ones that command everything, as far as like they're the high command for this area. And this is an important place, especially since everyone else in the world, even though there's a war going on, it's written into the war terms that nobody will touch the sanctuary or the shipments that go to King's Hold to keep the watch going. As
Mm-hmm.
far as the rest of the world knows, the watch is doing its thing. They're sending it, and yeah, there's a war going on,
Yeah, they're
but
just.
there's more important things like keeping Tixis at bay. And
Mm-hmm.
Withers has been like, nope, fuck that, fuck Tixis, we'll be fine. We're gonna send all these supplies to the front lines, and that's why they were able to make that last push and take the Northlands. So it paid off. Nathan, actually, Withers is gonna be a hero, and he's gonna be promoted again.
Fuck! I don't know why. I just don't. I know it's all fiction, but I'm getting more personally angry at that fucking rapist fuck. Oh, that's
Yes.
good. That's the point, though. That's good. That's good character development. Holy shit, I'm getting mad. Why does the
Yeah,
good
he
things
did.
keep happening to him?
Withers is fucking god right now. He's so rich from his
What god
smuggling.
is he fucking? I'm just kidding.
The one with lots of money. Him and his brother are rich beyond their wildest dreams. The pirate enterprise was hugely successful.
Oh,
up
and
to a
he's
point.
and he likes gang raping women, so he's more of a who's that Warhammer goddess that like for 40k that like lets people like give into their desires or whatever, and the more they do, the more depraved it gets, and the more pain they need to get horny.
Yeah,
That
Slaanesh.
Slaanesh, that's the god for Withers, because he still get rich and shit. Is just you become old, decrepit, and like Emperor Palpatine.
Well, nobody really knows what god Withers worships because everyone worships a god. Because if you don't worship a god, you don't have a heaven to go to.
That's true. And then you don't have like some strengths and abilities that
Well, it's more about
blessings or whatever, right?
well, unlike real life, you know there's a heaven at the end of this, and if you worship a god and you're a good worshiper, you get to go to that heaven. There
Mm-hmm.
is an Elysium, right? That's the real deal. But if you don't worship a god on Perennia, you die, you go to the Fugu plane and you wander endlessly. You have nothing to look forward to but endless wandering if you don't worship someone. It's just
Yeah,
how it is.
that makes sense. So no matter what, you either have to be like a holy person or a depraved fuck.
No, you just have to actually believe in something. It's not that fucking hard.
Well,
You know,
I imagine the gods in D&D require spiritual like practice spirituality because religion
well,
is
it's
business of
cleric,
spirituality and oh yeah,
clerics
cleric.
and stuff like that. But I mean, like, average Joe Carpenter can worship Lancelot, and at the end of his life, even if he never gets in a battle, as long as he paid homage to Lancelot, he was faithful to him, and he made him his primary god, he gets to go to Lancelot's realm when he dies.
I like Neverwinter Online because how they explain gods. It's this is for warriors, and then under it, it's like even farmers and so that don't fight. You know, like I'm just using Lancelot as an example. It would be
Yeah.
like even farmers that don't fight worship them for the strength to keep. You know, they at least add something for the everyman, so it's like more immersive because not every god is meant for warriors or special people in dangerous lines of work. So I like that little flavor because D&D it's usually catering to the party, so you only hear about what the gods can do or how people worship the gods in like a warrior or you know a mercenary perspective. So
And
I like gods being like regular folk being included into worship. It's just
they
a
should
small
be.
detail.
Every worshiper counts, because in Perennia, the more worshippers you have, the more powerful your god is. It's proportionate belief.
It kind of works
So
like a MMO, like I'm
yeah.
playing.
So it's the last day, or not the last day. The full week is up. Uh, Andromeda opts not to go meet her brother. She's just going to let him wait because she has 3 days until she really has to get in touch with him. And they prepare all day.
What a
They
shitty
sleep
family
all
member.
They choose. She chooses not to go out to her normal spot to look out. Instead, Shaw goes because he only needs 4 hours of sleep.
Well,
'Cause
they
he's
were
an elf.
stuck on like some of them were stuck underground for multiple days, right?
Stuck on a what, sorry?
Weren't they like stuck underground or like stuck in like that like doing that mission for a few days, anyways?
They were, but like we're 7 days into
Oh, I
their.
know. That's why I'm asking. That's why they're sleeping for hours or whatever because they're finally
They were up
exhausted.
well, they were up till 4 a.m. the day before, right? Because it takes them a couple
Yeah,
hours to get back, and they leave at 2 a.m.
that
Because
makes
it
sense.
took them time to get there, all four of them undetected. So once they've realized Nathan's was there, they turned around and went home again, but it still takes them a couple hours to get home. So once they got home, they have to sleep that time. Otherwise, it's like their internal clocks are all fucked up. They slept the day away so that they could go there all night and get Nathan's out of there. So the only one who went to watch during the day, and what Andromeda's been doing now that she's being scryed upon, is she's made her own separate camp away from everyone else in a bunch of nondescript trees. Every time she summarized that every time Withers has seen her scrying so far, she's been sitting in that one spot in the trees, looking out over the castle. He gets to watch her for about 15 minutes. In that 15 minutes, he just sits still with a spyglass and his clairaudient spell, which is just him peering over the edge, and learning nothing. There's no major landmarks, so he's just watching her in the trees. So he just decides to keep playing on that. So he just finds a random spot of trees, makes himself a private campsite.
What a weirdo.
By himself, so that Withers has no idea how many people are with him or where he is. So he's trying to make the scrying pointless for him. But he's also taking for granted that Withers is going to scry on him the same time every single day. And in fact, every week I'm going to roll to see what time of day that he scries on.
Oh,
and
it's so
he's gonna have
good.
to figure it out again, just to make it a little more interesting.
Just keep track of that, or I'm gonna make fun of you.
So he sleeps the day away, all by himself. They all meet up that night and make their way in as a group again. As soon as they get about an hour away, they hear the sounds of battle.
Ooh, shit. That's not a good sign, especially for them thinking that they were like the few people that were there, enemy-wise.
Now, full disclosure, there was always going to be a battle. The
Yeah,
severity
but
of the
so
battle and the
soon.
time of the battle were going to relate around Nathan's. I took this opportunity to spring the battle for two reasons. One, it made sense
Wait, who heard the
that
battle going on? Was it the party or was it
party,
Withers?
yeah, the party heard the battle going on from far away, right?
Yeah,
If you
I was
forget,
confused about that because if it's the party that's near the base, they would be the only enemies, right? Other than the zombies.
well, that's what they thought, and that's what they figured out. It was the zombies attacking.
Oh, okay. Sorry, I
Somehow,
thought you were going somewhere else with it. I was trying to jump ahead.
yeah.
I apologize. I,
So the zombies are attacking, and that was always going to happen in my mind. I was going to do it either before or after Nathan's was rescued. I chose this time because nobody was awake during the day. So because nobody was really awake during the day, and Shaw didn't do that well on his rolls, he couldn't make out a whole lot of details. And he also wasn't there for that magical time to figure out when patrols left and patrols came back. He never noticed that a full patrol went out and none of them came back. And then as soon as the patrol doesn't come back, everybody goes back to high alert. Now, because Quick killed someone the day before, they were already on high alert. So kicking it up to next gear means that they were able to fend off this attack a lot better.
yeah.
And I wanted to make his little fuck up, but not really a fuck up, more of an indulgence. I wanted to make his indulgence more meaningful. Like, oh yeah, I may have taken the time to kill this guy. It may have blown the whole mission. But look, it worked out. Everybody was already amped up, so when the zombies came, they didn't have to pull so many guys away from sleep or anything like that.
Yeah, which is
So they
good.
get to this point. The battle's on its way. I tell them, you may now opt to run all the way there. And in doing so, if you run all the way there, more of the men will be alive by the time you get there. Right? You know where I'm going with that. And then, so they decide to make endurance checks. The endurance checks are quite high. I make the endurance checks 15 because normally they're 10, but they're running through high snow.
Yeah, you
I
have
rolled
to add challenge to that
Yep.
if they're running through fucking snow. I can't even run that fast in like Arma 3, a military simulator. So
Also, two of them are small, so short people running through the snow.
ah, midgets, manlets. I'm just kidding.
Hobbits. So
Oh fuck.
they can't really run through the snow. So I add all these effects. Now, to their benefit, like Andromeda, she has, as a druid, has moved through cover, like moved through undergrowth with no penalty, so she can just book it through there. So she only had a 10, but everybody else had a 15. They all managed to run there. They had to use 2 nightly rerolls to get there. But when they do, all of the men were still alive on this side of the gate. If they would not have ran, or they would have opted to just go at normal time, all those men would have been dead, and the zombies would have been pushing their way across the gate. And then we'd have been on the second line here. Just to add, like,
Yeah.
them make factor again, right? When they're there, certain things are going to be different. Because they ran, and took a risk. Now they're now in a position to save more people. That's their aim, as always.
How are they able to
And
save
once
more
they get
people? Do King's Hold have civilians and shit?
no, they're saving soldiers. Everyone matters,
Oh,
right?
yeah, I guess.
And
Yeah,
when
that's
they're
true when it comes to fighting Tixus off.
so yeah, when they're in a battle, it matters. So if they can get there and save more people, they look better too. They are the ones that are going to swing this battle one way or
What
another.
is Galdrin going to think that just a random group of people just spring out the trees or outside hiding and then just start helping them? Or do they just not care and say, hey, you were walking by. Nice, thank you.
Thork, you make a hell of a DM. That's exactly what I think about, right? Because
Well,
that is
I
a
would make
real.
a very shitty party member because I'd be asking a lot of questions like, all right, I need to know how I could fuck your game over. Because I'd be thinking
Well,
of like perfect plans.
none of the players asked actually.
Oh, really?
I
What?
I had to point it out to them, and I'll tell you when I had to do that. So let me go back.
All right,
So
sorry,
they
my
run,
bad.
they run all the way to here to get a good look and a good perspective, and this is a good spot. They see a horde of zombies about that big clumped up in front of here, where the narrow pass is to choke point them. They can't see much more than that because they're way the hell back here. Andromeda can see a bit, and she can make out that yeah, there's over 100 zombies, and obviously there's going to be some other undead lieutenants because that's how it all works. Usually a raiding party is a vampire as the commander of it. Then they have some wraiths or some ghouls or some
Oh, that
ghast.
would be a hard group to fight, just vampire alone. Well, based off of video games.
You would think that until a guy named Shaw came along. So anywho, they run
Shaw,
back up.
you peckerhead, get a hold of me to do your fucking interview. Sorry.
So Shaw runs back up the river with the rest of them because there's an easier spot to cross up there. They go back. Zverg cross the bridge. They take the special bridge across, and they go to the spot that Andromeda was at. It's about 50 feet from the zombies, but well hidden due to contours of the land. From there, I give them two options. Again, this is all about time. I tell them, you can either sit there and observe for a random amount of minutes, and in that amount of minutes, we're going to see how many of the guards are left. Or
Nope.
you can rush in and get the zombies while most of them are distracted.
That's what I'd choose.
So I gave them three out of 4 of them opted to observe. The reason they wanted to observe is because they wanted to take the head off the snake. They wanted to kill the vampire
okay.
first. And they can't see
I was
them
thinking of them fighting Galdrin. I don't know why I went that way. Sorry, never mind. Yeah, wait.
They wanted to take out the vampire. That's why they opted to wait and observe. Everyone but Zverg did that. Zverg's like not equipped for this. Most of his spells don't work on the undead because he's about fooling the living beings and they don't get fooled by objects. So his objective is different. His objective is trickery. He says from the get-go, he wants to use major image to make someone else look like they're casting the spells. They're going to try to fool people that are watching.
I'm Sorcerer, so that's I would try to I don't play D&D, so I can't speak in spell terms for D&D. But what I would do is illusion all the way. Whether it's practical or magic, that's exactly what I would do.
So Andromeda is now 3rd level.
Nice.
Or not 3rd level. She can cast 3rd level spells, and she can cast Call Lightning. So
oh!
They get Zverg to pretend to be one of the Fangorian druid leaders, and they make an image of that and make it look like he's the one that's casting the Call Lightning. So they don't know it's Andromeda the druid. So he casts that major image spell, and it'll last for as long as he concentrates on it. He can't do fuck all more than that. Everything he has doesn't work on him. Color spray? Nope. Hypnotic pattern? Nope. He accepts this like a fucking man. He's like, yeah, I can't do much, so I'll do what I can. He does that, throws a globe of invisibility on himself, and charges up the middle to try and get as close as he can to see if he can help any of the living soldiers. So he does that.
Which is good to manipulate and buy goodwill too, because maybe they'll fucking give you supplies and then you can get inside and help them out as mercenaries.
Well, the more like he wanted to charge up and be in a position to help.
Well, I jumped ahead to think like, oh, that's good to do that, and the benefit. Sorry, I should have said. I thought about the benefits of doing that.
So they observe. Unfortunately, they roll max. So they have to sit there for fucking 11 minutes.
Nice job, fuckers.
It's a long time.
Quite literally, the server's called fuckers too.
I skipped one thing. When they first got there and they ran to go back, I said, in the time that it takes you to go around and back, we have to see what percentage of the soldiers that were starting there are still there by the time you get back to this spot here. Again, you have to have real risks.
Mm-hmm.
And fucking Shaw rolled 100. So
No,
100% of the yeah. So 100% of the soldiers that were still here were there when they went all the way around there.
that's
That was
luck.
pretty slick. It is luck because from there, now in the time that they're observing, I'm just going to make them roll a percentage.
They
And
look
it was going
even
to be
better now that there isn't casualties too. If they help and
yeah.
succeed in helping, no
So they
casualties.
get there and they observe, and in the 11 minutes that are there, it went from 100% to 67% of them are left. The reason so
Ah,
Now, the reason that so many of them die is because they learned during the observance that the soldiers were doing so well fighting the zombies they couldn't make it. So when that happens, all of the lieutenants go to the front with the vampire and they kill whatever obstacles in the way, and then they basically they take the gap out.
mm-hmm.
They get rid of the stop gap. Like they are the ones that smash a way through. They're the line breakers. That's the word I'm looking for.
The
So they
lieutenants.
go to the front
Those are the
of the
people
line.
that shouldn't be on the front.
Yeah. Yeah, well, they're normally not because if they die, the zombies lose direction. If the vampire dies, he's the one that leads most of the zombies with a special spell from the Tixis Mythal. So I won't get into that quite yet, but he's the one that if they take him out, they actually do cripple the army because most of the zombies can't be given orders then, so they just stand there mindlessly walking around. So it's a good blow to kill the vampire. This is a good plan. So in that 11 minutes of observance, they see all the lieutenants, stake out all the lieutenants. So the actual count is they figure between 120 and 140 zombies, one wraith, two ghasts, which are a ghoul is a special type of zombie that has all the normal reflexes of a living person, and its type and its touch and bite can paralyze you, which is crazy. Because if you're paralyzed, the next attack can be a coup de grace, which kills you in one spot.
Oh shit! Really?
They are incredibly dangerous, and they are a real threat. The Wraith is an incorporeal undead, so a spirit, essentially. You can pass your hand through it, and it can pass its hand through you.
Nice.
However,
Okay.
it can only be hurt 50% of the time.
Oh damn! That is such a fucking
A huge survivability, right?
yeah.
No joke undead.
I didn't mean to
and then
make it seem like I'm disappointed. I was trying to say, damn, that's fucking good.
it's torquey shit, and they haven't faced a real battle yet. And then the final one was a challenge rating 5 vampire, which is their level 6s now, so
Mm-hmm.
it's right up their alley. A vampire is pretty deadly in D&D.
I was gonna
Uh,
say,
so
even for level 5, it could annihilate them quickly, right?
yeah, its primary power is the fact that they're hard to damage. You need the perfect combination of a silver weapon and a magic weapon.
Ah, and doesn't fucking Quick have a silver weapon?
Oh, wouldn't you know it? He does. And
Yeah, I remembered.
so he already has that silvered hammer that he got from the sanctuary like 3 sessions ago. Because they didn't get that in Krill. They got it before. I just forgotten to mention it in
Okay.
the old episode. But he's had that hammer for like 3 or 4 sessions now. And Andromeda's like, "Do you want me to cast magic weapon on your hammer?" So now, what do you know? Shaw has the exact combination that you need to bypass the vampire's damage reduction. So
Nice.
he volunteers to go kill the vampire. He's the one best equipped to do it.
Yep.
Now, a long time ago, I would say, 6 sessions in, Nathan's gave
Before the
Andromeda
remake or just recently? 6 sessions.
like 6 sessions recently in this new
Okay.
one. Andromeda gets a dagger, special silver magical dagger from Nathan's. He
Nice.
felt so bad about her rape, he wanted to give her something meaningful to protect herself in the future from anything.
And what does that dagger do?
And that dagger is magical and silver as well.
Ah,
But
nice.
they opted
Oh, it
to
makes
just
sense. Nathan's would have a silver dagger. Okay.
yeah, of course, right? That's his thing. It's
Yeah, I
very
just
rare.
had to remember King's Hold still.
Yeah. So, but Shaw's better. His hammer's better. So he gets his hammer enchanted. So now he's the only one who could truly kill this vampire in a quick way. Now that doesn't make it easy for him. This vampire also has quick healing of 5 hit points per round.
Damn. So you're still taking
That's
extra
good.
hits no matter what.
It has 35 hit
Well, you're
points. Oh,
giving extra hits no matter what to kill him.
yeah, it has. Yeah. So I mean, it's really really survivable. Not only that, when you kill a vampire in D&D, It automatically reverts to gaseous form, and it has 2 hours to get back to its coffin, or it's dead forever. Now
Really?
the risk, yeah, now the risk that the Tixis vampires take is they are able to take these undead and command these undead for a certain amount of days away from the Mythal, but the further they move from their coffins, which cannot be moved, the more risk they take. Well, they can be moved, but there's a bunch of fucking around involved. But when they go on like raving like or roving like this, they just anticipate they're not going to die or they can escape, and then they just don't have to go to gaseous form. So they have a lot of survivability is the point.
Mm-hmm.
So knowing this, Shaw volunteers to go in.
We're still talking
Gets
about the vampire, right? Vampire
Yep.
king shit
So he
guy.
gets all,
Okay.
yep. It gets all magicked up, and him and Quick are gonna sneak around. So again, they're on this hill. They're gonna sneak around here using the lay of the land to get all the way to here. They're gonna climb this tower, go to the other side of the tower, and have a nice vantage of everything going on down here. They sneak down there in about 3 minutes. Didn't take them too long. In that time, um, Andromeda is waiting for them to spring the attack. She's got Call Lightning ready to rock, and she's going to call Lightning on the Wraith because her magic is hard hitting, and they want to take the Wraith out first after the vampire. She can't actually see the vampire because, from her perspective, a lot of the fighting's here with those ones, but the vampire is more towards the middle here. They get down here without a hitch, climb up the side. Now, there's no way to hide from the prying eyes all along this wall when they start climbing right here. So they start climbing, and all of a sudden, people, all the Galdron soldiers on the wall are paying attention. Not only that, there's soldiers on this side of the wall too, shooting down from these towers over here. So they're there too. There are no soldiers on the roof here. They're all dead. They were killed by the Wraith first. When
Oh,
the Wraith...
what is the wraith? What does it look like? Slash, what does it do?
So a Wraith looks like a
Because remember, I'm
poltergeist.
still new to D&D.
Yeah, no worries. So a Wraith is like a poltergeist. It's just a fucked up looking ghost.
So is this a scary invisible thing?
They love to kill the living. That's their shtick.
It's a
They'll
poltergeist. What the fuck? They're supposed to like.
It's
If any-
technically a different thing in D&D, but as far as average Joe goes, there's no real difference between them. They're ghosts that kill people.
Oh, can I? For poltergeist, this sounds dumb for D&D. I know it's set a specific way. I would homebrew it to where the poltergeist is invisible, and instead of like attacking by like physical attacks, they spook you or whatever, and it causes major debuffs to the point where it could affect health points because
They
you're
do
so
both.
terrified and shit. But no physical attacks unless they're throwing something at you. Not
They do both those things. You just called both of their powers.
Oh, okay. I was thinking of like a Wendigo called a poltergeist where they like scratch and bite and shit. Okay, never mind. Carry on.
They have a power where they scream at you and they aid you, and they
Nice.
can go invisible. So they do both of those things.
Alright.
So the Wraith, however, is semi-transparent. It can float through floors. It can float through the ground and only attack you with, say, its claws from the ground, and you can't really
makes
hit it
sense.
back effectively.
I
But this
picture a
one-
wraith, the big floating like scary ghost, like a Grim Reaper mixed with a fucking like monster with
That's
claws.
perfect. That's perfect for it. That's exactly it, Sork.
Nice.
Well done. You're doing well tonight for keeping.
I
up with
know. I
D&D.
don't know what the fuck is going. I think it's because I haven't vaped, hit any of my vape today. I think that's what it is. I am so fucking energetic. Because
Alright,
usually
well,
I'm tired as shit, you know. But hey, good episode, new shit.
So from there,
Alright.
they sneak around, climb up the wall. Everybody witnesses. Few people pointing, but again, they realize something's going on, so they don't want to give them away too much. They also see Nathan's from there because they're so close now. They can pick him out with his handlers.
But
over
they're
there.
not going to like cut and run with them. They're going to make sure they're okay, right?
Yeah, they have no interaction with him. We'll give you that for free. They
Okay.
make their way across the tower, and now they're looking down. Down below, they see the vampire in his glee just killing soldiers. There's a ghast. Both of the ghasts are killing the soldiers on the flanks of the vampire, while the Wraith was just finished killing everyone up here. He's just floating down to take up the rear. All the zombies are standing back in a semicircle while they wait for the vampire to do his work. That's what they come upon. Shaw looks over at me. Your turn, buddy. I'm gonna jump from the top and I'm gonna smash his face in. I'm like, you're jumping down 20 feet.
I like
take
how
damage.
you're describing combat like the way I was talking about wanting it to be done too. More description, but you're not like going through numbers or anything. You're literally just like, you know, repeating their actions there. So it's like you're reading a book type of deal. More detail for the action so people can like close their eyes and picture it versus having to keep numbers or anything rolls in their head. I appreciate that. Thank you.
So yeah, we come up there, looks down on it. Oh, he didn't jump down yet. First they let Quick go. Quick wants to steal the control undead spell just like he did to the fucking spirit so many
Yeah, that's
moons.
right. He could do that. Okay.
Yep. And he shoots down and he successfully steals the control undead spell from the
Nice.
vampire. This
Respect.
also gives them away. Simultaneously, Shaw jumps down. Shaw rolled awesome. He rolled to hit. The vampire normally has a 23 AC, which is quite high in game terms. But because the vampire didn't know he was there, and he took him unawares, he only needed to get like I think 19 on the dice to get him flat-footed. No, it was 20. He had still get 20 to do it, but he was all keyed up for one good smack. He's like, I want to go two-handed, so I do more damage. And I was like, okay. When you roll this, you can roll a jump check so that you don't take damage when you hit the ground. Basically, you can almost like Thor or Iron Man hit the ground and you don't take any damage at all, and you can still do your attack.
Fallout power suit.
My house rule for the game is up to 60 feet. For every 10 feet you jump, you get to add an extra d6 of damage.
Nice. Okay, I like that. That's more logical.
I've had this house rule since I played with Owen way back in the day in the mid 2000s.
If anybody remembers early in the thing, I read a lot of D&D stories, and I was going to add on, like, I've seen that as a rule, and it works because, like, why aren't you able to do more damage when you fall? D&D has dice rolls for even things you wouldn't expect for a tabletop game. So, yeah,
Well,
adding damage to a drop is good.
It's a risk-reward system because you take damage, too, from the drop. So you have to really factor that in. And with dice rolls, you can only negate damage up to 20 feet until you get into retarded high levels.
Yeah.
But 20 feet, you jump 60 feet, you're taking 4d6 and you're dealing 3d6. So you really have to meter it. But that could be the 3d6 that takes out the monster and you could be unscratched. So this is what Shaw's thing was. He rolled a 20, like a natural 20 on his jump check. So that doesn't really do anything extra for you on the check, but I wanted to reward him for rolling the 20. So I said, normally you do a d6 extra damage when you jump down. I'll let you do a d8 extra damage instead.
Oh, shit. That is a big number. That is a big difference.
It's two. It's 2 extra points of damage tops. And
well,
it makes
the difference between life or death is 1 hit point, right?
It is. So he's like, thanks. And go ahead, roll your attack roll. So he brings the dice back, rolls her up. Rolls quite well, hits. Now he does his damage. He rolled fuck all for his first roll.
Nice job, fucker.
Yeah, he wanted to use his nightly reroll to reroll his damage, which is totally legal. I'm like, yeah, no problem. You only get 1 nightly a night after all. Pussy. He rolls the damage again. He gets 14, 2 7s. He normally does a d8, and then he got the extra d8 damage for falling damage, so that's another 7. So he does 14 points of damage.
I mean, good job on him.
That's just with the dice. Due to his
just with the dice.
Just with the dice. Due to his class and due to all the buffs he has against undead, he does another 12 damage. So he does 26 points of damage to this fucking vampire.
My little man.
The vampire only has 34 hit points.
That's a crippling hit, dude.
I'd already determined that this vampire had taken 10 points of damage before they came along. He basically dove into the middle of everybody. He didn't care about the damage he took because he knew it was just little nicks and cuts.
Right, he analyzed the people he was fighting and realized he could handle it, but he didn't account for a party that has fought things 30 million times stronger than them.
And he died for it.
Yeah.
Shock.
Pussy ass emo kid. Go back to Hot Topic.
Yeah, Lance takes no damage. Fucking vampire's head explodes.
Who takes no damage?
Shaw. He took no damage from the fall.
I was gonna say, you said a different name.
Like, and you could just picture it too. This ranger flies 20 feet through the air, fucking with his giant warhammer, crushes this vampire. Dan's like, "What's up?" And
some
everybody
of the best kills.
What? Yeah, man. I think it's up there and one of the cooler things I've seen in the game. So you got to remember, this whole bridge is just neck to neck with good guys, and then these fucking undead are like, "What the hell just happened?" So Lieutenant dies, which means Quick is in control of half the army because that vampire had 60 zombies under his personal control.
Fuck yeah!
which means Quick now has 60 zombies under his personal control. So Quick, first thing he does is turns the zombies on one another. So now all the zombies are fighting one another
Yeah,
pretty
so
much.
even if they come out of the spell, they're still being attacked by their people, so everyone's taking damage. He could have used it on some, like, have them fight each other for a minute and then go after other undead, like, outside that group, like, have them go seek.
Well, this is still the first turn, so Andromeda.
Oh, shit! Still first
Andromeda,
turn.
yeah, Andromeda drops a bolt of lightning on the Wraith, gets by the 50% mischance, and actually damages the Wraith. Pretty decent one, too. I'd say she did about 11 or 12 damage. A decent
That's a
amount.
kill, right? Oh, no, the vampire was
Yeah.
30-something HP, not the Wraith.
No, yeah. The Wraith has 36 hit points. One of the ghouls also had about 30 hit points, and then another ghoul ended up having about 21 hit points. So now Shaw is by himself down below, Quick still up above, shooting down. Shaw
Quick
then
is the
turns.
biggest ditcher in the world. Fuck Quick for ditching everybody. Pussy.
Shaw ditched him. He jumped down. So Shaw is
Well, Shaw
surrounded.
ditched me too. Yeah, fuck Shaw, ditcher. I'm just kidding.
He'll be back. So Shaw jumps down, and now he's surrounded by some of the beefiest undead that you can have.
Oh shit! What kind of monsters? Or are they just bigger undead?
They're just like torquey undead. Like
Okay,
two of the
I didn't know if they had like their own names or they were just like
okay.
better
I see what you
versions
mean.
of the base monster.
A ghast is a better version of a ghoul. It's a leveled up ghoul. So the ghast just has a better chance to paralyze you.
And a wraith
So-
is a better poltergeist.
Yes, actually. Well, no, a poltergeist is a better wraith. A wraith is a better
Oh.
I can't remember what it's called. There's like a bunch of the different ghosty ones. But the point is,
It sounds it would be the other way around, to be honest. In my
when the
opinion.
wraith, it drains your constitution. When you lose constitution, you not only lose con, but you lose hit points
I was
in
gonna say
relation to how much con you lose.
So if you
So
like heal, you don't heal for the same amount. That's like, dude, that is like the survival game way of fucking someone's life over.
And they come off your top end. So if you have
Yeah.
40 hit points and 20 of them come from your con, and they take 20, you've just lost all your con hit points and you're on death's door. So it's no joke of an undead. And he's just standing in the middle of two things that can paralyze him and one thing that can suck all of his constitution out.
I was just
Safely
playing a
on-
game the other day that had a function like that where I got a debuff so fucking bad it hurt my health points. So when I went to heal, it only, instead of for 100% or 60%, it only gave me like 35, and I hit the health cap because of my debuff. That shit fucks you up in any game. So I can only imagine how dangerous of a ability that is. Like to be able to drain con. Kidding me? Sorry,
It is. It's crazy. So Andromeda drops a bolt of lightning again on the Wraith in the next round. So then they get to go back to back first because they fucking ambushed him.
Mm-hmm.
And
So
then
you
they
get
roll.
initiative, right?
So he goes again. Yeah, he almost kills the ghast. He charges the ghast, gets a good attack in, and then jumps back again because he has spring attack now to make the ghast come to him. So he jumps in, smacks it, jumps back, gets a good smack in. Wraith comes up, swings at him, and misses. The other ghast is surrounded by men. Now the men are more invigorated. They were like, oh fuck, this vampire here. Vampire's dead. All of a sudden these heroes appear out of nowhere with a giant silver warhammer, and they've rallied the men. So now the men jump on the other ghast to keep him from jumping Shaw as well. So Shaw has a Wraith on one side, a ghast on the other side. He's in the middle. Quick's up top. Quick jumps down, uses his fire cone ability that killed all those guys on the beach a couple sessions ago. And unfortunately, it doesn't do too well this time. But he does damage the Wraith and Shaw, who willingly took the brunt of the blast. Basically, you can hurt your own people, like friendly fire is a thing in D&D. And he willingly took friendly fire so that
Damn.
Shaw could, that Quick could get both. Yeah, man, Shaw
What
was
a
stud in this.
simp.
So he took friendly fire
I'm just kidding.
and
You're cutting out. Oh.
flame. So he does that.
Can you
sorry.
repeat that again?
Am I back
Sorry,
again?
you cut. Yeah, you're now back. I couldn't hear you since I laughed and said you like since I last laughed. So who took damage and why is where we left off.
He jumps in. Shaw willingly took friendly fire so that Quick could line the spell up and get both undead in the spell and hurt them both.
Okay.
He ended up
I didn't
hurting
get that
Shaw
second half.
and
That's
both
why.
the others. He did a throw, and really he didn't roll too much damage, but he did hurt both of the other
You
things.
still got the move
So now
done, so that's good.
He hurt the ghoul and he hurt the wraith.
Nice.
So then it's the bad guy's turn. The wraith and the ghoul come in, both swing at Shaw. The wraith misses again, but the ghoul hits.
The ghoul is
hits,
a
he
better
rolls his
zombie,
paralyze.
right?
No, the ghoul is the one that can paralyze. Yeah, it's a better zombie. Yes,
Okay.
a much
Just double
better
checking.
zombie. So anyway, he hits him and paralyzes him, or doesn't. He rolls the saving throw and he fails the saving throw. The last knightly of the night was Verg's, and Verg gave it to Shaw to reroll, and he made the paralyzation save. Now nobody in the group has a knightly reroll left, so they're truly at the mercy of the dice.
Oh yeah, okay.
So next round comes along. Again, this round, Andromeda does the same thing. She drops lightning on the wraith, damages it again. So
What a
2 times in a row with a
one-trick
50%. Hey man, it's the best.
I'm just talking shit. I know Andromeda will give me something back for that. What a one-trick pony.
So yeah, then they go back and attack again. Shaw drops the ghoul, so now he's killed 2 of the Torquey things, and now it's just him and the wraith.
What a show.
The other ghoul has been wounding and hurting all the men that are keeping it occupied. But what they do is when one of the
Are there no girl soldiers? Are there no girls?
Gets paralyzed, they all reach out. What?
I was gonna say, are there any girl guards? And also, I didn't mean to interrupt you. Sorry. Hello?
No women.
No women. Okay. No women.
No, I said no women.
Yeah, I was just repeating
So
what you
they
said.
reach in, and if one of their guys is paralyzed, they reach in and they grab the paralyzed guys, and they'll pull them back into the crowd so that the ghoul can't finish them off.
Ooh.
So that's what they'll do to kind of keep their own guys alive. So if Shaw would have got paralyzed, they would have charged forward to drag him back because he's already been a hero. Like, they're willing to go do that. The only reason they haven't gotten involved in his battle is he's basically doing it all on his own.
Yeah,
so now
they're
it's
going to
Shaw
just get in
and
his way.
Yeah, so Shaw and Quick are on the ground, both fighting the Wraith now. Shaw finishes off that ghoul on his next round. So now the Wraith is between both of them. Shaw then finishes off that Wraith. And then we were done for the night. In that time, a couple more lightning bolts dropped. The Wraith actually doesn't get damaged a whole bunch until Shaw finishes it off. But yeah, Shaw ended up killing 3 of 4 of them, doing the majority of the damage to take them out. Although Andromeda did do the majority of the damage to the Wraith, but he finished it off. But yeah, man, it was Shaw's night to kill undead. Like those
fucking Shaw,
yeah,
man. We need to do an interview soon because that's fucking MVP behavior right there. You know what I mean?
He was.
But
yeah,
I think
everybody agreed. He did awesome.
The past 6 months, like, well, I don't know if it's been 6 months, but the past 6 months, like, talking to you about this or talking about this, like, every single one of them has had their moment, but it's always been like Andromeda was like, you know, the force behind this kind of campaign, because I mean, you know, he slash her, the character her, got gang raped, so I mean, it all became like a super huge, all right, this is like Andromeda's chance to fucking get all that anger out and find out who she is, because, you know, even if you kill 1 million people, you run the world, you're rich and all this stuff, you don't know the type of person you really are until you face some like real deep shit. But it's great to see Shaw now showboating, getting all the kills.
Well, this is what he grew up in. This is his
I
life. And he's like, when I'm done killing the vampire, right, I yell for the watch. It's like, fuck yeah, buddy. So yeah, it was just cool to see them rally the soldiers with this crazy heroic move.
And does Galdrin care what watch he was referencing, or did they just think, oh, we're the watch now?
Good question. Really, they're just the Galdrin people that are in this castle holding this right now.
They're for King's Hold and not Galdrin themselves at the moment.
Yeah, like they're just holding it because it's a defensive position for their war. They're all warriors who don't give a fuck about the watch. It's personal protection right now. There might be the odd Galdrin soldier that truly understands the necessity of the watch.
Did they kill all the soldiers that were at King's Hold, or did they just take authority over it?
They took authority and kicked them all down here to the bridge.
Damn,
so all the ones
shitty.
that they're saving on the bridge right now are the actual guys that should be there. So they're saving all the people that are going to back them when they free Nathan's.
And take over King's Hold again? Because they could do it now if
Like,
if those people still survive and they don't lose too many. They could use them, for sure. And just showing how powerful they are and the fact that they've been saved by the party. Oh, sorry. You said what?
Well, no, I said they lose the element of surprise if they give themselves away. They're hoping that they can kill these few things and then fuck off back into the darkness.
Well, use those people for the future.
We'll be out there.
You know what I mean? Like,
well, think about what these guys are witnessing right now. But they're looking at two people, a halfling and an elf, which match the description of people that Withers is looking for. But there's no Andromeda. They see a giant fucking...
Oh, that's right. They don't see the... okay, never mind. Okay, I am getting the... it's easy to, follow what you're saying, but I keep forgetting that the party is split up in a very, great ways. It's not like, oh, he's just down the block and could still hear me. Like, I forgot sorry, looking at a 2D image, knowing what you're talking about, knowing there's interiors and shit, and it still doesn't register that the party is actually separated and not just next to each other in a wide open area. That's where I got confused for a second.
All good, and then the other two are here. Zverg is literally walking his way down here.
Lazy
all the
fuck.
Zombies are fighting in here. Well, he can't really do much, right? He can't really hand-to-hand fight. So he's just keeping the druid that they have on the highest point. They're trying to make him the focal point. They're trying to make Galdrin think that some Fangorian druid is working with the Watch.
That's right. He's doing that sneaky shit. Pretending that another person is casting spells. Okay.
Well, he's invisible, right? So
yeah.
Nobody can see him.
I was just reminded that he was the one. He's the one being a sneaky fucker, like I would be. So he's on the hill, invisible, or Andromeda's on the hill, invisible. Severic's controlling that person. Quick and Shaw are down there wrecking faces for the Watch.
And that's where we left off. I believe they're going to kill the Ghast quite easily next time we meet, because that's now both of them. And Shaw is a fucking murdering machine.
Yeah.
The only thing that works against that Ghast actually has quite a few hit points left, like a good 20-something. So Shaw could get paralyzed in this.
That's one Shaw hit. It's fine. Wait, wait, what can happen to them?
Well, like that Ghast is still alive, so they could still get paralyzed and taken out by that Ghast.
I just want to, you cut out with paralyzed. I just wanted to make sure that's what I heard. Now I'm worried for them. Because their luck was really great this fucking session. And last session wasn't too bad. We know what RNG gods are going to say.
Well, there was, no, it was not Quick's night. Quick rolled 6 ones.
Sorry. Oh, Quick, dude.
Yeah, man. 6. And what sucked is, we were talking about it on the drive in, and I was like, man, you've been rolling so good lately. He's like, yeah, the dice have really been my friend. It's been great. Because
Shaw's turn.
And then all of a sudden, Quick rolls 6 ones that night, and he's just like, ugh. That's why he wasn't as pivotal in his battle as other times. He tried to be.
I know. Usually he runs off and does some amazing shit that turns the tide of a certain fight with an enemy, like snatching heads and shit. That's fuck, man. The party. You know what? Things are getting so action packed and serious. I love it. I can't wait to encounter some real lore heavy session, some real RP things where people create more not text dumps, but you have to sit down and write down some shit. I like that. Get to set dressing and more not politics, but interpersonal relationships and some small things about the character to look at in the future. I like lore. That's what the point of the character interview type thing, so we can get a little bit lore about the character and the person playing. But mainly the character. But fucking.
Well, what's kind of funny is what's his nuts? Zverg is a bard now too, right?
Yeah.
Shaw just did something heroic, and he said he's gonna write a song about Shaw.
Oh, that's nice. I'll help since I'm a rapper / punk,
Well,
punk
in
artist.
game, he's not writing a real song.
I'm gonna help him write a real song. No, this is it. I got a YouTube
I-
channel to run. Well, not a YouTube channel to run, but I got a playlist to run. I got content to pad out for Underdorks. No, songs being made. I'm just kidding. I'll do all the songs. I'd write all the lyrics, and I would learn styles from like other centuries and shit. I'm good with that.
There, you see that?
Hold on. King's Hold.
Andromeda, Berg, zombies, quick,
Yeah.
Shaw. That's where everybody was pretty much during the whole thing, with Quick and Shaw fighting in this little area here.
Okay.
That should give people a better idea of where everything was.
So they're right next to that
rolled-
village too.
Yeah, it's not really. Well, yeah.
It's technically a village. It has 3-4 buildings and like seems like a center, like a main gathering hut.
There's no general stores or anything. It's just meant to be a place people stop off at when they're going to fuck off. A little.
Oh, like those like little small towns that truckers go to while they're driving through mountains and Appalachian mountains.
We know how modern airports have a few amenities on the way, but nowhere to stay. Yeah, it's like that.
That's how
They
I
have
view those. Yeah, those mountain small towns because they have like one general store for everyone to get like their cigarettes and drinks and shit. A couple gas stations, a church, and like one grocer, as they'll pronounce it. That's what I view it as. Not a real town, but it's still kind of a town because it has a couple staple buildings for travelers and the residents. I like that though.
Well, I'm going to show people some portraits before we go.
Yes, this will be like the premiere for the portraits you made, not commissioned. I haven't commissioned anything yet. I'm still saving money, everybody. I'm like I was telling MrMan, when I buy commissions, it's going to be for everything, all the content I'm doing. So it's going to be a new thumbnail, art image, not thumbnail. It's going to be a new avatar, banner, plus characters for you guys and you, MrMan. We're going to create you an icon, an avatar, just to use for my content. Not if I'm not expecting you to actually use that everywhere, but I'm doing that. And then for Odd Fetus and my new channel that I haven't really done anything with yet, banking on content. But fuck, Underdorks is booting up. I love it, and we're getting more viewers over long time. Recently, we've had more views on our videos, which I like. Yeah. No one's commenting yet, but from my understanding, it's usually like the first couple thousand people will not comment unless they're like you're catering to a more younger audience because they like to comment on shit.
I don't think podcasts is a commenting thing anyway. Nah, people just listen, right?
Like YouTube, maybe if it's like Andromeda right there. That's what I pictured.
Okay, no, I just want to make sure you have it up. That's all.
Yeah, I got it. I lost train of thought. I wasn't saying anything important.
There's Quick. Gauntlets are to represent. The gauntlets represent his hand-to-hand skill. What he actually have is long, like sleeves, like a monk's vest. But I have no icons that even fit that a little bit, so I gave him fucking gauntlets.
Is there any icon packs you can purchase or anything? Because I'll donate to that.
I looked into it. I would already bought the money. Money isn't an issue for that.
Yeah, neither. The same thing with me. Is just some things I want to plan out spending too because it will be like more than $50.
So this is Shaw with his hammer, right?
I do not like the hat, but it makes sense for his race and the type of player he, how he plays.
Well,
and plus he's like a dwarf, right?
I think he wants to put like facial hair on it or something.
On his helmet? Like just cut someone's hair off and glue it on? Or did I misinterpret that?
Well, like he wants to change this facial hair.
Oh, I don't know why. I thought you were saying put facial hair on the mask I was criticizing. I was like, what the fuck? That would be something I would do on purpose. Like, hey, just put the facial hair on his forehead. It's fine.
Yeah, that's but that one I got a lot on him, right? Like they have the hammer that he has, the bow that he has.
Yeah, he's like super equipped.
Make him look like tree topper boots. And yeah, his worked out pretty good. I'm quite happy with how his turned out.
It's good for you, you putting it all together with the programs you had. Like it's fucking good, man. I didn't know you could do that.
Yeah, it's pretty cool. It's just a paper doll program. And Zverg, which I have to point something out.
I
He
do
has a
not
big.
like how the magic is angled on that stick, but I don't think that's a you thing, is it?
I didn't want it to go off, right? Like I can put it wherever I want.
Yeah, okay, if it was centered down a yeah, if okay, I see what you're saying. I was
Well,
assuming that when you said you didn't want it to. Yeah, never mind. Don't put it on the edge. Unless
yeah, like
other people get mad at it, but as we could see, you can literally just drag it a pixel or two. That's good.
I like to go like bearish.
I like his. I like Z words. I like.
Zverg,
I know
Zverg.
it's Verg, but we both made fun of how it's spelled. But I mean, that is like what how Germans and other Europeans pronounce shit.
Correct. Yeah, and he's German, so he likes to go
Fake
that route.
German. I
Yeah,
heard his voice. He's a fucking maple syrup chugging leaf.
every character he ever makes is bald with a long beard, so that part was easy. I didn't know what color
So he's
beard
like
he
an
wanted.
evil sorcerer from every fucking magic high fantasy property.
Pretty much. I
It's
think he
always a
looks like
bald guy with facial hair that does magic that's fucking evil or is capable of great evil.
the newest one I've done. Captain Withers, who had none of this stuff. I wish I could make him have a puffy naval uniform with one of those sticks that admirals have, like the walking sticks or whatever, with the big knob on the end of it. Heh, giggity. But yeah, like if he had one of those, that's the Withers I pick.
That's like
But
isn't that like an Irish shillelagh? It's like a long stick with a wooden knot on it, like a knot
yeah,
in the wood that's just specifically carved out.
you know the ship captain's cane, and I mean that's essentially what I'm talking about.
Mm.
Yeah, I'm happy with it. It gives you
I like
something
it.
to a name, and I got to do the wrinkles, which
And,
I've never done before. So I did all of these wrinkles, and I'm not like one of those type of people.
and if we want to add like sickness or anything to it, you can just send me that like the base image file, like not the project file, but the rendered image, the final image, and then I could put it in my program and add like, make them look more sick. Because I have a couple PNGs that I use for a face on a thumbnail that I made someone look stoned, sick, crazy, cross-eyed. It's pretty cool.
That is pretty cool. Well, here's the wrinkles that I did. Can you make it kind of go with that?
Yeah, I could definitely do that. Because all I have
Oh,
to do is just add it in and then manually myself change like zoom in and change each pixel so it can have a so it can match the thing I'm putting it on. Sometimes I can just drag and drop and call it a day. Sometimes I have to add like kind of like an outline in a lighter color to give it that like pixel view because pixels kind of fade if you zoom in.
yeah, I know what you mean.
Yeah,
This
so
is
I
just
could do it though since it's all pixel
it's
work.
like it's high resolution, so you'll be
Mm-hmm.
fine. You can do whatever you want. Yeah, I just gave him the scimitar to remind people that he's a pirate, right? Like it's a pretty piratey weapon.
Yeah, for D&D, isn't it called like a swashbuckler? Is how what they call pirates, or is there an actual pirate name in the game?
There's a dread pirate subclass. There's a few of them.
Okay, now that I know. Okay, I wasn't aware.
Swashbuckler is one too, but Swashbuckler is like a 20 level class. The
Someone
Dread
told me
Pirate,
it's like a rogue mixed with a pirate. That's why it's
pretty much.
yeah.
Well, you
Or
can
it's a
take
bard in a pirate or something. I forget.
you could take a rogue kit, and like a rogue kit will just swap out a few skills and make you more of a swashbuckler.
That's pretty cool. So it's literally changeable. That's cool.
It is. There's a few different versions of it too. Like swashbucklers are popular in D&D.
Yeah. So I'm thinking about now that we have all these 2D maps that you use. I'm thinking the more maps you make, the more we can flesh out this world. I hire someone, which will probably cost a little bit of money, like $100, $200. Eventually down the road, I'll hire someone to have them make like a 3D render of a city, like just like a picture, but a 3D picture from like I don't know what programs people would use, CAD or something. That'd be pretty sweet, and that could be like the thumbnail.
Nice.
Or not thumbnail, but the banner for the channel. Because the plan for, I talked to you about this like a week or two ago. 2 weeks ago when I missed, like when we had to reschedule. That I was thinking about making an archive channel for Underdorks for all the old episodes. So you don't have to scroll through my videos to find them or go through my channel and click the playlist. And it's all the old episodes. If I delete anything or have to because, copyright or, for any reason, at least the archives will still be up. And then if more people go to that than my channel for Underdorks, that will be the main channel. It's still going to exist no matter what. It's just, is it like the main upload? You know what I mean? I'm still deciding if it's going to be the main upload place or I just keep everything as is for now and then just create an archive. I don't know. I'm just rambling now at this point to ramble. Oh, shit.
No worries. We're done for tonight anyway. And my internet is being garbage, so.
Yeah, it was terrible in the beginning. You cut out a little bit more, and then when you had to restart, that's when it got better.
Think of these thoughts as limitless light, exposing, closing, circuitry to fight. Think of each moment, holding this breath as death, minute and decimal.
Resident minor, hungry will need your testimony. Understand from the square truth to the whole truth. So help you, son. Now raise your right hand. Father, your honor, may I explain me? My brain has claimed its glory over me. I've a good heart, albeit yes.
Condemn him to the infirmary.
All my towers crumble down, the flowers gasping under rubble, striking in the hall of law. Thy genius sates a thirst for trouble, scattering sparks of thought energy. Deliver me and carry me away. Live in my kingdom, I am your lord. I order you to cower and pray. Spiraling down thy majesty, I beg of thee, have mercy on me. I was just a boy, you see. I plead of thee, have sympathy for me.
See how the serfs work the ground, and they give it all they've got, and they give it all they've got, and you give it all you've got to down.
When it grows bright, the particles start to marvel, having made it through the night. Never they ponder whether electric calming if you look at it right.